with that, we kick off a Friday fun day here on Bet. She is Anita Marks. I am Tyler Fulghum. We are ready to rock and roll for the next 30 minutes here on Bet. Of course, we have to dive into the NBA Finals Game 4 in Beantown. Tim Bontemps and Kendra Andrews will join us. We have a big UFC card, so Ian Parker will drop by. The NHL Stanley Cup playoffs continue, so I think the Puck Daddy is someone we might want to chat with for a bit. It is a jam-packed show, Anita, before we get started. I know you've already done it, my friend, but if anyone out there hasn't watching or hasn't told a friend or family member, ESPN's YouTube betting channel, youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting, how you can watch this show and get all kinds of wagering content. Anita, looks like you're rocking a Boston shirt, which may be a little bit of a departure for you for how we've been handicapping this series thus far. Are you ready to rock and roll for Friday's bet?
I am ready. Let's do it, babe.
All right, we'll get to the green shirt that you're wearing in just a bit. We know you like to dabble in the ponies as well, Anita, and we have the final leg of the Triple Crown tomorrow, the Belmont Stakes. It is the longest of the three races in the Triple Crown. Post time tomorrow, 6:49 Eastern, 3:49 Pacific. Rich Strike will be back in the field after skipping the Preakness, our Kentucky Derby winner. Bottom line, Anita, handicap the ponies for Saturday for us.
Yeah, listen, a lot of love for Rich Strike, right? Who won the Kentucky Derby, but that race was an outlier, right? Like, got in at the last minute. The jockey rode the horse, had the best ride of its life. Epicenter peaked too soon, got that lane. Like, all the stars aligned properly. I just don't see him winning the Belmont. But I am going to take the filly against the fella. So my favorite bet is Nest, and you can get her at 8-1. Now, she is bred, her pedigree comes from Curlin. Curlin is known as a horse who has a lot of distance. As you said, Tyler, this is the longest of the three, 1.5 miles. Great ownership group here. What I hear is the ownership group would not run her unless they felt really confident she had a chance of winning. Todd Pletcher is her trainer, one of the best in the business. She's going to be ridden by Ortiz, one of the best jockeys in the business. She has a legit chance of winning, so I'm going to play her to win at 8-1. I'm also going to play an exacta box with her, We the People, and Mo Donegal. Now, what is an exacta box? You have a box, you put in 3 horses, and 2 of those 3 horses just have to finish in the top 3. 2 of the 3, and you win. Now let's talk about the wise guy horse, and that is We the People. Ran in the Peter Pan. He is the speed in this race, went wire to wire in the Peter Pan, so I do like him. And Mo Donegal, another Todd Pletcher horse, came in and beat the Preakness winner early voting. And so a lot of people like Mo Donegal. Some people feel that he's the best horse in this race. But again, this is the longest, so you're going to need some closers that are really going to come in strong down that last stretch. So that's how I'm playing the Belmont tomorrow afternoon.
I'm with you, sister. If I'm going to make a wager, I'm going to put my money on the filly versus the fellas. I like Nest with that 8-1 payout. Let's make Saturday night ladies' night at the Belmont if you and I are having our way. Speaking of the ladies, we are joined now by the one and only Kendra Andrews as we dive into Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Kendra, going to be discussing the Warrior side of this equation. And let's start with this, Kendra. Bad news is the Warriors are down 2-1. And I know Steph and Klay played pretty well, I should say, in Game 3. But they're still in that 2-1 hole. Maybe even more concerning, though, for Golden State is the state of Steph Curry's lower leg, ankle, knee area. He got rolled up on by Al Horford in Game 3. What is his status for Game 4? Is he going to have any type of minutes restriction or physical limitations as he tries to help his squad even the series up?
I don't expect any kind of restriction for Steph. You know, he says that he doesn't think there's any mobility issues and he's ready to go. The Warriors are probably going to try and keep him around the same minute load he's been playing. Hopefully that's just around 40 minutes or so and that they can get some production from other people. But Steph said, look, it's just a pain tolerance thing. And at this point in the series, as you just said, you know, if you're good enough to play, you're going to play.
All right, so let's talk about what's going on with the Golden State Warriors, right? You got Klay Thompson coming in, and he had his best game in Game 3. Really don't know what to expect, right? later on tonight. Draymond Green not putting up any points. Oh, by the way, 15 personal fouls. What can we expect from these two players that with Curry, big question mark with his ankle, these role players are going to have to step up? What do you expect from them tonight?
Yeah, well, Draymond knows that in Game 3, he was not anywhere close to the version of himself that he needs to be for this team to win a pivotal and very important Game 4. He says, I think I can be better, and I will. He said, I have to be more aggressive on both ends of the floor, not just one or the other. He said he prides himself on being whatever this team needs him to be. He knows that he didn't do that in Game 3, and he has to get it right for Game 4. As for Klay Thompson, the Warriors never worry about his shooting or his offense. They know it can get going like that. But what they are stressing to him is don't force anything. Let the game come to you. Start off by taking easier shots, and as those start to fall, then you can do whatever you want, but just play within the flow of the game and don't try and get everything going at once.
Kendra Andrews with the Warriors from Boston helping us out here on this Friday edition of Bet. Awesome insight as always, Kendra. Appreciate you stopping by. All right, Tim Bontemps may be a fella. He's the type of gentleman who's always invited to ladies' night because we love Timmy B here on Bet. Tim, let's get the Celtics perspective here. Now, they're up 2-1, of course, so things are looking gravy in Beantown. Despite that 2-1 series advantage, though, one narrative that people keep coming back to and keep betting into is how much they've struggled in the third quarter. And that was yet again the case in Game 3 as the Warriors came all the way back and took a lead in the third quarter before Boston got back on track in the fourth and won the game. On a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned do the Celtics team and their players and coaches seem to be internally about those third quarter struggles going forward?
Well, I don't know how concerned they are, Tyler, but I would put it at a 10. This is a massive problem for the Celtics. It's something that we've talked about time and time again as I've come on the show earlier in the series. I've said until the Celtics prove otherwise, you should be live betting these third quarters for the Warriors until the Celtics actually show they can win one. Even in Game 3, when the Celtics played better, they still got outscored by a healthy amount in the third quarter. And look, they've obviously got away with it a couple times in this series, but despite what's going on with Steph and Curry, despite everything else that's happened, the Celtics have to take care of the ball like they did in Games 1 and 3, and they simply have to be better in these third quarters because if they keep screwing around and losing 8 to 10 points in these third quarters or more, it's going to catch up with them over time. So to me, that is a huge focus on my end tonight going into this game, and the Celtics have talked a lot about being better in the third quarter. They simply have to be better going forward if they want to win this series.
All right, Tim, huge props to you. You called Game 2 properly, Game 3 properly. It's now Game 4. Boston favored by 4, over, under 214.5. Feed the people, my friend. How are you playing this one?
I like the Celtics tonight, and I would like the under. We don't know what exactly the situation is going to be with Stephen Curry. Obviously, we got to see what he looks like out on the court with this left foot. And we have to see what Robert Williams looks like, because he's been the one guy who's really been able to give Steph trouble among their interior players. And with him only having 1 day between games, obviously there's a ton of focus, understandably, on Steph's foot. Robert Williams comes out and his knee doesn't feel right with this shorter break between games. The Celtics could be in trouble, but I think he's going to feel okay. He felt good yesterday. Seems like he's trending in the right direction. I think momentum is in Boston's favor. And at some point, I think we have to see the Celtics string a couple games together after a win and play well. They have not done that well throughout these playoffs, but I think they will tonight. I think they get this win. And with the uncertainty about Steph and with the way that the Celtics have shut down the Warriors in the half court, I would lean towards the under as well.
All right, Tim, I hear you like the Celtics and the under. There is a specialty prop out there, though, that I'm curious to hear your thoughts on. You got to lay some juice. It's minus 165. But it is for the home team Celtics to go over 20.5 points in all 4 quarters. Would you make that wager given the third quarter struggles that we've discussed?
It's a fascinating question. When Weimer threw this at me a couple hours ago, I didn't really know how to go with it. The 160 is a big number. I'd be kind of tempted to go the other way and bet on the Celtics to just miss shots for a quarter. 20.5 is pretty low. We've seen, as you said, these third quarters not go well. So I think you can go either way on it, but I kind of like the juice on the other side, given just how big a number that is and how the Celtics do have a propensity to kind of throw the ball around, cough up the ball a bunch, go maybe 2 for 10 from 3 1/4. So I think I would probably go the other way on it.
All right, Tim Bontemps breaking it down for Game 4 tonight in Beantown. Tim, we appreciate you, and of course, Kendra Andrews on the Warrior side for dropping by here Friday on Bet. All right, Anita, that means it is our turn to get our hands on Game 4, dig into the markets, and feed the people some winners. We've heard what Kendra had to say. We've heard what Tim has had to say, plus the way that he's leaning. How about you? I want it all, Anita. Touch the entire menu. Side, totals, props. Give me everything for Game 4 tonight.
All right, it's a lot, so I'll try to make this short and sweet. So first and foremost, yes, I'm wearing my Jaylen Brown t-shirt. I have switched sides here. I am going to go with the Boston Celtics. I bow down to you, Tyler. I'm going to lay the points at -4. We've been talking about how dominant the Golden State Warriors have been in the third quarter. Well, guess what? The Boston Celtics have been dominant in the second. They're +70 in point differential. So I'm going to play the Boston Celtics in the second quarter at -1.5. And I'm going to be playing the under here as well. Curry's injury, granted, yes, he feels good, shoot around great. It's different when you're in the game. And we talk about what he means offensively, but defensively, if that foot is hurting him at all, there's just they're going to take a big hit defensively, where Boston has been outperforming them physically on rebounding, offensive rebounding. We talked about it on Daily Wager, right? 15 offensive rebounds equaling 22 points last game. I don't like the way that Draymond Green is playing. I can go on and on, all the reasons why. Let's get to my prop bets because these I really like. I'm going Wiggins over points and rebounds. Again, not sure how many minutes Curry's going to get. So therefore, I expect Wiggins to get more minutes because A, I think they're going to need help offensively, and B, he can help them on the defensive side of the glass. He's averaging 17 points and 6 rebounds a game. Probably my favorite bet is Looney over 7.5 rebounds tonight. He's going to need more playing time. They are getting crushed in the paint, crushed on the boards, and in this postseason, he's got 4 games with double-digit rebounds. 22 against Memphis, if you recall that game. They need Looney tonight. I expect him to get more minutes. And last but not least, Robert Williams, under 2.5 steals in blocks. Follow the formula here, right? Like, because of the knee issue, short rest, 1-day turnaround time, he averages 25 minutes a game. And then when it's this type of short turnaround with one day, he averages 14 the next. So 25, 14, 25, that means this is 14. I don't believe he'll play more than 15 minutes, so I'm going under 2.5 steals and blocks for Rob Will tonight.
Yeah, I know that's got to be hard because you love Rob Will as much as I do. And initially, I thought Rob Will's got to be an over in that steals and blocks category. But great find by you, Anita. I had not seen that trend when he's got just the day in between games that his minutes go down. And we've heard throughout this postseason, and since he's returned from injury, that it's kind of hit or miss. One day he'll wake up feeling great. The next day he'll wake up not feeling so good. So we've seen Rob Will, like in Game 3, look very, very spry, and I think he had 7 combined steals and blocks. But we've also seen some games like Game 2 where he just wasn't on the floor a lot. And I think you have a good find there, a good situational find about the time between games for someone who's dealing with a bulky knee. So I like the price as well, plus price there with Rob Will. Even though I love him, may have swayed me there on the under 2.5 steals and blocks for Rob Will. All right, as far as game script that we're developing, we do see eye to eye. I, of course, like the Celtics. I'm going to go back to the well with a wager that I have been making here during this series. It worked for me in Game 3. I'm going back to it in Game 4. That's Celtics in the first half, laying the 2. That correlates with the numbers that you found and that research you found on the Celtics dominating the second quarter. If you go look at Game 3, the Celtics won the first half by 12 points. That fits with the trend of Boston being a above average to pretty good team at home in the first half during this postseason, coupled with the trend of the Warriors being a downright terrible team in the first half on the road this postseason. They have dug themselves into some serious holes on the road in this postseason, and Game 3 was no different as they went into the break down 12. I'm not sure I expect that trend to change, given how strong Boston is, given the crowd, which will be even more wild on a Friday night with an opportunity to go up 3-1 in the series, and given Steph Curry's health. If he is less than what he was entering Game 3, which he was pretty good in Game 3, about the only thing they had going alongside Klay in Game 3. If he's less than that, compromised with his ankle, then that even adds more confidence to liking Boston -2. I do think it's an under environment as well for the reasons mentioned. So I like the way that you're playing that game script in Game 4. Now, as far as props are concerned, I got 2 with one player. It's Marcus Smart. I'm going over 24.5 par. In the 2 wins, Smart has easily eclipsed this, averaging 21 points, 6 boards, 4.5 assists per game. Game 2 was the outlier, but that was a blowout where he played just 25 minutes. With me expecting the Celtics to win, I expect Smart to have a great game. And then I'll go over 2.5 made triples for Smart at +110. I like that as well because, again, in games 1 and 3 where Smart has played well and Boston has won, he's made 7 out of 14 triples. That's 3.5 per game. He's gone over 2.5 in both, made 4 in one, made 3 in the other. So I expect Smart to play a lot of minutes, especially if Robert Williams' minutes come down. They may go small, and that keeps Marcus Smart out there for more minutes. So I like Smart to have a big game just like he did in 1 and 3. So let's go with those as my 2 favorite props in Game 4. But, Anita, I see you rocking the green. Come over to this side. I love what you found, though, in the second half. And I'm picking what you're putting down with Robert Williams in the prop market. All right, this weekend, not just filled with NBA Finals and with a major Triple Crown horse race. How about a big card at UFC 275? Anita, hang tight. We're going to slide Ian Parker in here so we can delve into this card. Ian, thanks for joining us here on Bet. Let's start with this first and foremost. UFC 275. Got a great fight with the ladies inside the octagon. Valentina Shevchenko and Taila Santos for the flyweight championship is one fight we're going to see. Bullet Shevchenko has been undefeated since 2017. She is the overwhelming favorite here, but it may be a little bit of a trap fight. We hear that term used in other sports, trap game. Is it possible that the favorite could be looking past the opponent in some way?
Tyler, it's a great question, and sometimes that does happen. Maybe that happened with Amanda Nunes against Juliana Pena, but if you know Valentina Shevchenko, now she has been told if she wins this fight, she gets the winner of that to become a double champ. But if you know Valentina Shevchenko, zero emotion. She is focused on one fight only, and that is against Santos to continue her legacy. So I don't think it's a trap. I think that number is actually lower than I expected. They're giving Taila somewhat of a shot here based on power, based on her winning streak. But for me, Shevchenko is focused on this fight, and I think she will do what she needs to get done.
All right, Ian, now, maybe I'm wrong about this, but usually you don't like to lay that much juice, even though you have confidence in Bullet Shevchenko at -625. Is that the way you would wager this bet, or do you think there's a wiser way to wager this bout?
You know, I think there's a few ways you could do this. Yeah, that number is pretty high, and it's MMA. They wear 4-ounce gloves, so anything can happen. So if you want to keep that number and throw in a parlay and mitigate your risk, I'm all for it. But for me, I just want to keep riding this train of Shevchenko finishing fights by TKO, and I believe that number is at +200. So for me, I think she goes in there. I think she lights up Santos, gets it done, and at +200, I'm all for it.
All right, let's move to the main event and the fellas. This one should be a good one with 42-year-old champ Glover Teixeira getting inside the octagon, a title defense against Jiří Procházka, currently ranked second in the light heavyweight division, I should say, but only his 3rd UFC appearance. Again, Teixeira is the old dog here, 42, the oldest UFC championship we have right now. Dana White himself has said that this fight could go a couple of ways. Teixeira on the ground, you like that? Procházka's a guy who can knock you out standing and get you in big trouble with his fist. Many people believe it stays standing, which of course would benefit Procházka. Do you agree with that assessment?
You know, I'm not the person who's supposed to disagree or agree with Dana White because he's the boss. He controls everything. He owns this world, right? But in this situation, he's 1,000% correct. Jiří Procházka has got that athletic build, that power, that unpredictable factor with his striking. And we've seen him come to the UFC and knock out 2 top contenders, the last one being Dominic Reyes. But for Glover Teixeira, he's seen it all. And if this fight goes to the ground, again, Dana is correct. That's his world. And he has spent a lot of time focusing on his ground game because he's gotten back to it. And look at the success he's had. He showed it against Jan Blachowicz, where people thought the same thing. If it stayed on the feet, he gets knocked out. But if it goes to the ground, he wins. I do agree with Dana's assessment here.
All right, you see the pricing there as far as this fight is concerned. Prochazka, the challenger, is the favorite, plus 170 on the comeback for the champ. Bottom line, how are you going to wager this bout?
So I understand if people want to take a shot on Glover here because there's such a disparity on the ground, and he's a very smart fighter, and if he can avoid that early barrage of strikes from Yuri, he can get it done. But for me, I don't want to pick a side here because this is really a true grappler-striker fight. I like under 2.5 rounds here. I don't see this fight even touching the third round. Someone's going to sleep either which way. So for me, Tyler, under 2.5 rounds in that championship fight.
Early nap for the loser, no matter who it is. UFC 275 main event bout between Glover Teixeira and Yuri Prochazka. Ian Parker stopping by for a Friday edition of Bet. We look forward, Ian, to chatting with you again throughout this UFC calendar. Enjoy 275 on ESPN+. All right, Anita, time to slide back on in and slide on over to the ice. We got the Puck Daddy standing by to join us as we break down the Eastern Conference Finals between those New York Rangers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Puck Daddy, what a heartbreaker for the Rangers last night. Not only do they go down in the series 3-2, but they had that 1-0 lead. It turns into a 2-1 deficit late. Then the empty net goal is scored shortly thereafter. So after going up 2-0 in the series, they've lost 3 in a row in this series to the two-time defending Cup champs. Pardon me. If they lose on Saturday, it will be 4 straight losses, and they are out. Puck Daddy, how are you playing this game as you look forward to Game 6?
Well, it breaks my heart to say this because I had the Rangers plus 1.5 games as my series bet, but I think this thing is cooked. I'm taking the Lightning on the money line. I'm also going to take the Rangers under 2.5 goals on the team total. They've been under this total in 3 straight games. They're not getting the power play opportunities they had earlier in the series. They have only scored 2 even strength goals since the first period of Game 2 of this series. The Lightning are getting stronger. The Rangers look like they're getting more worn down. And obviously, it all tracks back to Andrei Vasilevskiy in an elimination game. 6 career shutouts in elimination games for the Lightning for Vasilevskiy. It's all trending Tampa's way.
You know, Greg, you and I are here in New York. We know how electric this postseason has been for the Rangers. I'm just as sad as you are, but let's try to help win the people some money. So what are some of the prop bets you're looking into in Game 6?
Well, there's no quit in New York, baby. So maybe they'll come back for Game 7. Who knows? But, I think the trend for me in this series is the defensive stranglehold that the Lightning are putting on it right now. The Rangers at even strength can't get anything going. They only had 1 power play in Game 5, which was a bench minor on the Lightning for too many men on the ice. So I'm going to fade Chris Kreider on a point total for Game 6. Kreider's been real good this series. He has 4 points in 4 of 5 games for the Rangers. But if they're not going to get to the power play, and he has to play against that terrific checking line with Anthony Cirelli back in Tampa with the Lightning getting the last change, I think it's a prime opportunity to fade Kreider. He didn't have any points in Game 5. I expect the same in Game 6.
Puck Faja, Greg Wyshynski dropping by on Friday, getting us ready for Saturday's Game 6, which could be a closeout for the Tampa Bay Lightning looking for their 4th straight win against the Rangers. Puck Daddy, we appreciate it, my friend. Have a great weekend.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
All right, Anita, before we move on, we got a little bit of time here. We discussed this Game 6 matchup on Daily Wager earlier this morning on ESPN2. So any plays that you want to share on Game 6? I kind of like the Lightning to close it out like Puck Daddy. I'll lay the 1.5 on the puck line for the price. I do think it's an under environment, so that's the way I'm looking at it. Lightning win by at least a couple goals in advance to the Cup final.
So I'm going to play the Rangers on the puck line. I'll take the 1.5. I'm also going to play the under. This is a Rangers team. They're playing on with house money on borrowed time. They've peaked too soon. This is the Rangers team that a lot of people here in New York were anticipating to show 2-3 years from now. They are 5-0 in elimination games, okay, and against the Penguins, against the Hurricanes. So, no chopped liver teams that they had to go up against. And really, the Rangers dominated this last game. It just so happened, just unlucky pucks that went into the goal against Shesterkin. So I think the Rangers are. I'll take them on the puck line, and also I'm going to take the under. You've got two of the best goaltenders in the NHL, so that's how I'm playing this. Also, they didn't score on any power plays. That's been their bread and butter. I think that's going to be a different story this next game.
All right, we like the under environment, but on different sides of the puck line. I like the kneeing. You're backing the Rangers. To the diamond we go, Anita, and we'll have some diamond dollar plays for today's slate to give you in just a second. But we heard Tim Bontemps evoke the name of our producer, Weimer, and I have a bone to pick with Weimer, okay? Here's what happened June 1st. Anita, great job. You're in the black. You won some money, won 2 out of your 3 bets, end up, I think, $8 positive from what you had going into the day, so good on you. I lost $17.50 on the Astros and A's under 7.5. So that's like 5 or 6, I think, straight diamond dollars bets that I've lost. I was near $200. Now I'm right around 100. But it's not my fault, people. It's not my fault at all, Anita. It is the fault of our producer, Weimer, who absolutely mushed the hell out of me for my bet. And she did so on purpose. She wanted to see this happen when at 5:39 p.m. Eastern, Justin Verlander comes off the mound with a no-hitter going into the bottom of the 7th inning and his team up 1-0. As they go to commercial break, Weimer texts me, under looks real good right now. I text back, oh God, here we go. No more than 30 seconds later, the first hit is allowed, and Oakland ties the game up at 1 apiece. Okay, fine, that's not too bad. 2 minutes after that, Christian Betancourt hits a 2-run shot, his first homer since the Obama administration. Again, I'm still all right, it's 3-1, but the mush is happening. About a half hour later, a run is walked in to make it 3-2 Oakland, and then 3 minutes after that, a bases-clearing double for Yordan Alvarez makes it 5-3 over the total of 7.5. So, in a matter of about 40 minutes, a chain of events was put into place by one text from our mush-loving producer, Weimer, and that's why I'm still riding a diamond dollar streak of losses. So I can't wait to see how she mushes me tonight. We'll get to my diamond dollars play in a second, but you've heard my grievance that has been aired. What do you have to share with the people since you did make us some money last time out?
I've got a lot of plays, so buckle up. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna play a money line parlay with the Philadelphia Phillies. Okay, Philadelphia Phillies going up against Arizona. Money line -140, and then I'm going to play the Blue Jays on the run line at -130, and I'm going to parlay those together for $10, and that comes out to be about 2-1. Okay, Phillies, as we know, best bullpen right now in the last month in Major League Baseball. They're making a statement. No Joe Girardi anymore. And they're really good against right-handed pitchers. Arizona, one of the worst bullpens in Major League Baseball, batting average .215. So I really love the Phillies. Also, I'd like Harper. I'm going to put $5 down on Bryce Harper getting 2 hits tonight. He's got 62 hits on the season and a 4-game hit streak. So I think Harper's going to get 2 tonight. And as for the Blue Jays, Ed Rodriguez is pitching for Detroit. No bueno. I've got him giving over 5.5 hits at plus 125, and Vlad hitting a home run at plus 285. Last time this rookie went up against the Yankees, he gave up 11 hits and 10 runs. He's 0-1 with a 10-13. Can you imagine, Tyler? He's got a 10-13 ERA. So I know I've got a lot of plays there. Digest them all and play them. Hopefully, they'll all be green check marks at the end of the night.
I hope so. I hope my Guardians run line against the A's at plus 125 is a winner as well. But undoubtedly, they'll be up by 4 runs going into the 9th, and the A's will score 3 because Weimer text your bet looks good. I'm going to risk $20 to return 45. The A's are awful right now. They've lost 12 of their last 13, and 10 of those losses have been by 2 or more runs. So I'm riding that trend. Let's go. Borrowing this from Joe Fortenbaugh, Guardians of the Galaxy. Recapping the bets real quick. 4 big bets from Anita Marks. Good luck on all those. I just got one big money line bet on run line bet, I should say, on the Guardians of the Galaxy to beat the A's by 2. I'm going to try and get back $45. But again, I know the mush is coming. Want to thank Tim Bontemps, Kendra Andrews, the Puck Daddy Greg Wyshynski, and Ian Parker for dropping by a jam-packed Friday show. Should be a fun, great weekend. She is Anita Marks. We love her. I am Tyler Fulghum. Hope you can stand me. Everyone have a great weekend. We'll see you back here Monday on Bet.